Dearest gentle reader, how are you? Today we'll be talking about, guess, drumroll, The Scandalous Lives of Abuja Elites, written by Shehu Usman Yakubu. This book was written during the COVID-19 lockdown. That was in 2023. It was published in September 2023, but it was written during the COVID lockdown. Let's just go through the first chapter, just a few lines from the first chapter. Abuja residents confidently settled into November, thinking the gloomy rainy days were behind them. But they were wrong to let their guard down. The seemingly random downpour, ushered in by turbulent winds, left many open windows battling with the onslaught and many curtains drenched in the elements. 5 a.m., like clockwork, Fayokemi arose. It was not unusual for her to be up at the crack of dawn. As a mother to two kids and the breadwinner of the family, her set list of daily responsibilities typically superseded that of the average African wife. One could argue that her lifestyle was quite akin to a woman living in a Western society. In her own little world in the blossoming suburb of Pape district, her daily duties as a wife and mother meant that though she had to work on a Saturday, it was required that she made food for her husband and kids. Such an activity was not unusual, neither was it just a weekend chore. Each day, breakfast and lunch is made every morning and left in a cooler. For her husband, who could never discern a spatula from a serving spoon, this was a necessary ritual as her work schedule meant she could never be home to make lunch. As for her kids, Shego and Ayo, who were 9 and 6 respectively, it also meant that when they got home from school, they wouldn't be left starving by their loafing father, Tunde. Tunde, a seemingly proud, dippy individual, typically spent his days going on fruitless escapades with his fellow unemployed mates. Not only was he unable to make meaningful contributions to the finances of the family, he was also an absent father. His ego was often reflected in his discontent about tending to his own kids. The thought of being labeled as a house husband was always further propped by the usual retort: that cannot be the destiny of Tunde Okoya, son of the great Colonel Gbenga Okoya. At 40, Tunde was a disappointment to his family, especially his widowed mother. But nobody dared tell Tunde the lion that to his face. However, amongst his clique, Tunde was truly the king, adored by his friends for his masterful storytelling. His stories were often the highlight of their gatherings. There was gentle reader. In the beginning, I struggled with this book because there were so many characters. So I found myself having to go back to remember or to try to remember who was who. Yeah, so that was the only thing I struggled with. But the book is scandalous, not in a 50 shades of grey scandalous, but scandalous all the same. Not in a sexual, smart scandalous, no, but it's scandalous all the same. Now, I was at the bookshop one day minding my business. I think I went to get a gift for someone or just window shopping as usual. Usually, when I'm stressed, I go to the bookshop. It has a way of distressing me. Just looking at all those colorful books, has a way of distressing me. So there I was minding my own business, and then I got into a conversation with a random guy who recommended this book to me. And I'm happy to say that I'm glad I listened to him because yes, it was worth it. Now, let us summarize the book. The novel is a fast paced drama set in Maitama, one of the wealthiest and most powerful parts of Abuja. It's an expose on the hidden lives of the rich and influential people, full of secrets, scandals, betrayal, greed, fake appearances, and hypocrisy, the moral kind. The drama begins when Kemi, a female mechanic, finds Aisha Bashir. We just talked about Kemi here. Finds Aisha Bashir lying in her workshop with a gunshot wound to the head. As Aisha fights for her life, she reflects on the events/choices that brought her there. How she met powerful people, got drawn into elite circles, and became trapped in dangerous situations. At the same time, other lives in Maitama are unraveling. Salma, a wealthy trophy wife, gets entangled in an international drug ring after meeting a charming foreign man named Altin. I kind of like their story. Tanko Danlami, her husband, is a respected businessman with his own agenda and double life. Yeah, the double life is that he swings both. Well, he's gay. He doesn't even swing both ways. He's gay. Many other characters, socialites, businessmen, lovers, and opportunists. It is basically Abuja gossip meets crime thriller meets moral warning. So, like I said, it is a scandalous book. In fact, after reading it, I get to some, like I see a furniture store, those ones on Muse, large furniture stores, and I'm wondering, what's the backstory? What's the side hustle behind this, furniture store? That's what this book does to me. Now let's go to the themes that appeal to me as per the usual. Excuse me. Ultimately, the book serves as a searing critic of the Nigerian elites, suggesting that the linen, their reputation and lifestyle, is deeply stained by the very crimes they publicly condemn. However, some of the themes in the book go deeper than just rich people behaving badly. Beneath the scandal, the novel is really asking uncomfortable questions about society, and they are: one, loneliness behind luxury. Many wealthy characters seem or are successful, but they are emotionally empty. Big houses, flashy cars, and status cannot fix loneliness, insecurity, or lack of love. Sometimes the penthouse is just a prison upgrade. Women as both victims. Characters like Aisha and Selma are not just scandalous women, no. They are navigating systems built by power, money, and male dominance. The book shows how women are judged more harshly, while men escape with cleaner reputations. For instance, let's take the. I have to go to the Bible. I'm sorry. That's the one that quickly comes to mind. Mary Magdalene, when she was caught in adultery, she was the one that was going to be stoned, and the man was going to be let go of. It's a man's world after all. So yes, women from time immemorial are often judged harshly for the sins of both genders. Abuja as a character. Maitama itself is symbolic. It represents power, temptation, class, and social theater. The city is not just a setting, it shapes behavior. Where you live influences who you pretend to be. When I first came to Abuja, that was among the first things that put me off. The when people see you, they size you up, they look at you from head to toe. I had a particular, you know, supervisor that was, fond of doing that. She would look at you, size you up from head to toe, and in her head, mentally calculate how much you're worth. So it was one of the things that put me off when I first came to Abuja. But the thing is, you will always find your people. So yes, I have stayed here a couple of years and I have found my people. And we don't have to, look down or, compare ourselves. Silence as complicity. People see wrongdoing and stay quiet because of fear, comfort, or personal gain. Silence protects corruption. Not every villain is loud, some are just comfortably quiet. We always say this in the office: when you see something, you say something. And unfortunately, I don't think it works in our society. When people see something, do we say something? Or are we just too scared to speak up? We talked about this silence in the last book we talked about, Adanna. The society just keeps quiet and looks the other way because this person is powerful, this person is rich, because this person is influential. Love versus transaction. Many relationships in the book are built on exchange: money for affection, status for loyalty, influence for intimacy. Real love becomes rare because everything has a price tag. I mean, is it just in Abuja? Well, maybe because Abuja is the seat of power, that's why it's more pronounced here. But it's everywhere, I guess, in circles of power, in circles of influence, in corridors of power, it's rampant there. Identity versus reinvention. Some characters try to escape their past by entering elite spaces, changing how they speak, dress, or behave. But the novel begs the question whether reinvention brings freedom, or is it just another mask? Fake it until you make it. Yes, welcome to Abuja. Moral judgment and selective outrage. Society often condemns the visible sinner while protecting the powerful hidden sinner. Reputation matters more than truth. People don't always hate sin, they hate being embarrassed by it. You know? They don't hate the sin, they just hate being embarrassed by it. Don't catch me while I'm at it. Consequences always arrive, be it immediately or eventually, consequences must arrive. Even when power delays justice, choices eventually return. The novel suggests that secrets may sleep, but they do not die. Scandal is like party jollof smoke. You can't fully hide it. The real scandal isn't individual sin, it's a society that normalizes it. When we normalize sin, we've normalized going out naked, we've normalized so many vices. I can't quickly think of one now, but we've normalized so many things that before would have, screamed or, done all of that. Poverty feeding corruption. Some bad choices aren't born from evil alone, but desperation. The gap between the rich and poor pushes people towards compromise, silence, and dangerous opportunities. Yes, everything is not about greed. Have you ever been desperate? Maybe to even eat once in a day is a struggle. That's why they say be careful about people that some people are raised on love, some people are raised on survival. The people raised on love will always is it give themselves, but the people raised on survival are always looking to scramble for themselves. They all just want for themselves. Most of the characters aren't chasing love, they're chasing validation, escape, power, or survival. The scandal is just the symptom, the emptiness is the disease. In short, this isn't just rich people behaving badly, it's a mirror, and unfortunately, the mirror has exceptional lighting, rather. This isn't just rich people behaving badly, it's a mirror, and unfortunately, the mirror has exceptional lighting. Now, I enjoyed the book. I totally did, and I highly recommend it. Really, it's a good one. However, I want to say here that Tanko, I kind of like what happened to him at the end. Yeah, it was a bit gruesome, but yeah, I think he got the ending he deserved. Talk about pot calling kettle black. I think he got the ending he deserved. I loved Salma. And there was another character, the one who was married to a husband. I can't remember her name now. She was married to a husband that was threatened by her success. I love that woman. I loved her too. Yeah, they were the two people I liked. Her husband eventually died, even while they were mending fences, and but he died, and she eventually found love again. Now, the summary behind the book. Kemi, a mechanic, walks into the seemingly lifeless body of Aisha Bashir as she opens her workshop on a rainy November morning. With a gunshot wound to the head and at the brink of death, Aisha lays still as she recounts all the salient moments that led her there. We already talked about that. While Aisha grapples with life, a whole world of chaos has befallen the once sleepy hills of Maitama. Like Beverly Hills, Maitama is the playground of the rich and powerful. Nestled on the hills of Abuja, she knows many secrets and could tell many tales of the scandalous elite who call her home. Maitama Linen tells a story that unravels and then entangles the lives of numerous characters. And while these stories are unique to these characters, there is a common scandalous thread unifying them all. At its core, the book exposes the hypocrisies that typically underlie the deeply held cultural, ethnic, and religious norms and values upheld by the masses, but often decimated by the elite. Ohimai Oyeleke, editor and friend of the author. So, like I said, there were too many characters. I found it difficult to identify them at some point. But by the time I settled on the ones that I liked, yeah, it was a beautiful read. It's an interesting read, Scandalous, like I said. So, have you read it? What did you think? Did you agree with what happened to Tanko? Let's share your thoughts in the comment section. See you next time. Bye.